The friend who smiled to your face. There's something more painful than losing a job. It is finding out that the person who took it from you was sitting beside you every single day, eating your food, laughing at your jokes, calling you their best friend. That is the story of Adaeze. And if you have ever trusted the wrong person, then this story is for you. Adaeze Okafor was 31 years old. Sharp mind, clean record, 5 years at Creston Media Group in Lagos, one of the fastest growing digital marketing firms in West Africa. She had started as a junior content strategist and worked her way up, quietly and consistently, until her name meant something in that office. She was not the loudest person in the room. She was not the one doing the most talking in meetings. But when Adaeze submitted work, people stopped and read it twice. Her campaigns had brought in 3 of the company's biggest clients. Her boss, Mr. Adeyemi, trusted her. Her colleagues respected her. And her best friend in that office, the person she told everything to, was Blessing. Blessing Wosu, 29. Beautiful in the way that made people underestimate her brain. She and Adaeze had started at Creston the same year, the same month, almost the same week. They bonded over long hours, bad office coffee, and the quiet understanding that 2 young women climbing in a competitive industry needed each other. They shared lunch every day. They reviewed each other's presentations. When Adaeze was going through her breakup 2 years ago, it was Blessing who stayed on the phone with her until midnight. When Blessing's father was sick in Enugu, it was Adaeze who covered for her at work without being asked. People in the office called them a package. You rarely saw one without the other. That was exactly the problem. In January, Creston announced something that changed everything. The company was creating a new position, Head of Strategy, a role that had never existed before. Whoever got it would oversee all campaign direction across every department. New salary, new title, a seat at the senior leadership table. The whole office buzzed for days. Mr. Adeyemi quietly pulled Adaeze aside. "I want you to put yourself forward for this," he told her. "Prepare a proposal. Show the board what you can do. You're my strongest candidate." Adaeze went home that night and could not sleep. Not from worry, but from excitement. She sat at her kitchen table and started building the most thorough strategy proposal of her career. Market analysis, campaign frameworks, growth projections. She worked on it for 2 weeks, staying up past midnight, refining every section until it was tight. And because she trusted Blessing completely, she shared it with her. All of it. "Tell me what you think," Adaeze said, sending the document over WhatsApp one evening. "Be honest. Be brutal." Blessing replied with 3 fire emojis. "Ada, this is brilliant. You've already won." Adaeze smiled at her phone and went to sleep. The submission deadline was a Friday. Thursday evening, Adaeze put the final touches on her proposal, saved it, and sent it to Mr. Adeyemi's email at exactly 8:47 p.m. Then she exhaled, made herself a cup of tea, and finally rested. The next morning, she came into the office and found the atmosphere strange. People were quieter than usual. A few colleagues looked at her with expressions she couldn't read, something between pity and discomfort. She walked to her desk, opened her laptop, and found a calendar invite from Mr. Adeyemi. Proposal review meeting. All strategy candidates, 2 p.m. Candidates, plural. Adaeze frowned. She had not known there were other formal candidates. She looked across the open plan office towards Blessing's desk. Blessing was already looking at her. She smiled and gave a small wave. Adaeze waved back. At 2 p.m., 5 people walked into the boardroom. Adaeze, 2 male colleagues she expected, 1 woman from the Abuja branch she had never met, and Blessing. Adaeze looked at Blessing. Blessing looked straight ahead. Each person presented for 15 minutes. When Blessing's turn came, she stood up, clicked to her first slide, and began speaking with the confidence of someone who had rehearsed 100 times. By the third slide, Adaeze felt the air leave her body. The structure was different, the words were different, but the thinking, the exact frameworks, the market segmentation approach, the 3-phase growth model that Adaeze had spent 2 weeks building from scratch, it was all there. Rearranged, reworded, but unmistakably hers. Adaeze sat completely still. Her face did not move. But inside, something was breaking and hardening at the same time. She looked at Mr. Adeyemi. He was nodding, taking notes, impressed. He didn't know. He had no way of knowing. When the meeting ended, Adaeze walked out of the boardroom and went straight to the bathroom. She stood at the sink, ran cold water over her hands, and looked at herself in the mirror. "Do not cry," she told herself. "Not here, not now." That evening, Adaeze did not go home immediately. She sat in her car in the office parking lot for 40 minutes, thinking. Part of her wanted to go back upstairs and confront Blessing in front of everyone. Part of her wanted to send Mr. Adeyemi a message right then explaining what had happened. Part of her wanted to simply disappear. But Adaeze had not gotten to where she was by acting from emotion. She opened her laptop. She went to her sent folder and found every document, every draft, every version she had shared with Blessing. She noted the timestamps. She cross-referenced them with Blessing's presentation slides, which had been shared in the boardroom folder. She took screenshots of her WhatsApp conversation, including Blessing's reply. "Ada, this is brilliant!" She compiled everything into a single, quiet, professional document. Then she requested a private meeting with Mr. Adeyemi for Monday morning. She did not sleep well that weekend. She kept replaying memories. 3 years of lunches, 2 years of phone calls, 1 breakup she had cried through on the phone with a woman who was apparently capable of this. It was not just professional betrayal, it was personal. It was the kind of wound that makes you question your own judgment, your own eyes. But she showed up Monday morning, calm and composed. She placed the document in front of Mr. Adeyemi and walked him through it without drama. No tears, no accusations beyond what the evidence said for itself. She simply showed him the dates, the content, the conversation. Mr. Adeyemi was quiet for a long time after she finished. "Give me until Wednesday," he said. Wednesday came. Adaeze was called in first. Then Blessing was called in separately and did not come back out for a long time. By afternoon, the office could feel that something significant was happening, though nobody knew exactly what. At 4 p.m., Mr. Adeyemi sent a company-wide email. The head of strategy position had been offered to Adaeze Okafor, effective immediately. There was no mention of Blessing. But 3 days later, Blessing quietly cleared her desk and left Creston Media Group. HR confirmed only that she had resigned. Nothing more was said publicly. Adaeze did not celebrate. She sat at her new desk, a corner office, modest but hers, and felt something more complicated than victory. She thought about the years, the midnight calls, the woman she had genuinely loved as a friend. It took her a long time to understand that grief and justice could exist at the same time, that you could mourn something and still know you did the right thing. 6 months into the new role, Adaeze was interviewing candidates for a junior position on her team. A young woman came in, nervous, clearly talented, trying hard not to show how much she wanted the job. At the end of the interview, she asked, "What's the most important thing you've learned in your career so far?" Adaeze leaned back in her chair and thought about it genuinely. "Protect your work," she said finally. "Not because people are always out to take it, but because your ideas are the most valuable thing you bring to any room. Guard them the same way you guard anything that matters." She paused,